Well, hi there. It's been a long time since I've done a math video. I guess I took a long break. But anyway, I want to get back to doing some math videos. And there's a lot of people that ask questions like, how do you round numbers? Okay, so let's do a quick video here on how to round numbers, rounding them off, as some people say. As you can see here is a chart. And on this chart, is every single place value that you may need to know, and probably a lot more. Usually you don't need to know much past here in school. The, the, the thousandth spot, which this 5 is in, okay? And over here is the 1 million spot. Not many of us need to go way beyond that, unless you're really, really rich. But anyway, here we have the 1 spot, which the 2 is in. Then there's the 10 spot, which the 7 is in. The hundreds, which is the 8 is in, and so on. Okay, and you can read that as you go here. Okay, so that's what this chart is for. And I don't know, to round numbers, you basically do have to memorize all of these places that the numbers are in. Okay, the strange part is after this decimal right here, to the right is the tenth spot. And when you say these numbers, you have to stick your tongue between your teeth to try and say it. The 10th spot, the 100th spot is here, and this is the 1000th spot. So you have to really emphasize the tongue between the teeth here. Now, when they ask you to round a number, they'll usually tell you where exactly they want you to round the number from. So let's look down below here, and it says, for each number, give the place value of the bolded digit. Okay, so for now, we're just practicing the place value. We're just saying, where is that number? We're not actually rounding these off, okay? But step number 1 is to find the place value, so this is not a waste of time. So let's look at this 4 in this part A right here. So here's the 1 spot. This is the 10 spot. Okay, so if we were doing this as a worksheet, we would just write that one is in the 10 spot right there. Okay, so for B, we would look over here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's in the million spot. Okay, the 6 is in the million spot. I'm not even sure if I'll write it in every time because I might waste your time by doing that. Okay, we can just do this together verbally. What about the 2 on the end here? Well, let's count. Start from the decimal. Always start from here and count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, it's ones, tens, hundreds, then thousands, and then 10,000s. So if I was writing something right here, I'd say it's in the 10,000 spot, which it's written right up here, 10,000s. Okay? This question's a little different than the other ones. Start at the decimal. Look this way at the 1. Notice we're going to the right this time, and you'll see that we are at the 10th spot. Okay, I will write that one just because it's different. I don't know if it helps for me to write it because my writing is not very nice and neat. I apologize. Okay, the next question. The 9 is in the, now look up here, it's in the 1 spot. That was easy. And the last one here, the 5 over here, which is the bold digit, it is in the, start at the decimal, 1, 2, 3, 4. So ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. The 5 is in the 1000 spot. Okay, let's go to the next page to start actually rounding off. Okay, they want us to round each of these numbers off to what is in bold right here. So it says round this number off to the 10 spot. Okay, here's the way I like students to do it. Look for the decimal first of all, then find the tens spot. Not the 10th spot, but the tens spot. I hope you can hear the difference. The 10 spot is ones, tens, right here. I get students to underline that. That is the number that is going to either change or stay the same. So we're going to have 3, 4, 7. That's going to be the same. The part that may change is this 6. Now, the way you decide if this 6 changes or not is you look beside it. You look beside it right here. And you see a number 4. Okay? If you see a number 4 there, then the 6 will stay the same. And here's the rule. If this number 4 was a number 5, if there was a number 5 here, then by rounding rules, we would make this 6 move up to a 7. So if this number was a 5, that would be powerful enough for this 6 to become a 7. Okay? But if this is a 4 over here, a 3, a 2, a 1, or a 0, this 6 would just remain a 6. Okay? So in this case, it remains a 6 because it has a 4 beside it. And then everything to the right here becomes zeros. So that 4 that used to be here just becomes a 0. And there's a decimal, and there's 2 more zeros. Now, you don't really have to include these 2 zeros on the end because decimal 00, it's not really necessary. Think of money. $5 can be written as just $5. You don't have to go 5.00. Okay? Let's do some more before this starts to seem more confusing than it needs to be. Let's just keep practicing. So look at the hundredths spot. Remember the hundredths spot, and if you need to, flip back to the previous page using YouTube. Just flip back if you need to. But the hundredths space is right here. Okay? So that 8, we have to decide, is that 8 going to stay an 8 or will it become a 9? That's the only 2 options here. We're going to write all of these numbers down to the left, but this 8 will either stay an 8 or become a 9. And that depends on what is beside to the right of the 8. Well, I see a 2 there. I hope you do as well. So that means that this number would just be, if we rounded it off to the nearest hundredths, it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 5, point, or decimal, however your teacher likes you to say it, 3, 8. And it's up to you. You could put a 0 there if you want, but it's not necessary. We're really rounding it off to the hundredth spot, so we really should just stop right there. There's no need for this 0. Okay? There's no need for a 0 to the right when you're after the decimal. Okay? All right, let's keep practicing. I don't have a lot of room to write the answer to this one down, so let's just talk about it and see what we can do. 10,000 spot. The 10,000 spot is, well, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Okay, this 9 is in the 10,000 spot. I can see they're deciding to give us kind of a tough one here. I'm going to erase all the writing so far so that I have room to write this answer up here because it needs to be written. Okay, the 9 is the 10,000 spot. That means the 2 and the 3 are just going to be there already. 2. But there's actually a trick to this question. Notice that 9. Look what's beside it. That's a 7. Boy, sometimes in math they should do a better progression of questions so that it starts kind of easy and slowly gets more difficult. This one jumps right into a tougher question. Let's see, do I have an eraser up here? If I do, I don't see it. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to erase that 3. Okay. Now, as you may be noticing, there is a 7 right here. Do you remember what I said before? If this number here is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it makes this one go up 1. The problem is we have a 9 here already. And for a 9 to become a bigger number, it actually becomes a 10, which is a 2-digit number. So if it becomes a 10, it's actually going to affect this 3 over here. Okay? So instead of 2, 3, we're going to have 2, 4. And remember how this 9 became a 10. So it bumped up the 3 to become a 4. The 9 will show, because it's 10, it made this a 4 and this is 0. And everything to the right becomes zeros as well. Okay, so how many zeros do we have to still write? 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4 more zeros. And usually we group them in threes, kind of like what you see here. So these 3 would be a group of 3. And some textbooks put a comma there. And then another comma here. If you were to read that, that'd be 2,400,000. That's how you'd read that. That was a tough one. And just watch. This this thing is actually going to get easier again. Isn't that weird? What a tough question to throw in there. Okay. The ones place. Let's underline the ones place. And then let's decide, does this 3 become a 4 or does it just stay a 3? Well, look to the right. It has an 8 there. So it's going to be, and maybe I'll just say this one, it's going to become 2, 3, 5, 6, 4. These become zeros. It's up to you if you want to include them, okay? So the answer for this one would be 2, 3, 5, 6, 4. The 3 became a 4. Why? Because it had an 8 beside it. If this had been a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, this would become a 4. If this 8 was actually a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this would not move. The 3 would stay a 3. I've probably said that enough times now. I'll just keep going, okay? Otherwise this video will be longer than you probably want it to be. Okay, so the hundreds spot, let's look for that. Ones, tens, hundreds, I see a 7. I'm underlining the 7. Beside the 7 is a 2. The 2 cannot make the 7 become an 8, so it just stays. Every number on the left you write down. I shouldn't even bother doing this. I should just say the answer. I'm sorry. Because it's all zeros after the decimal, you don't really have to put those zeros right here. Okay? They're not really necessary. There we go. We've just rounded that off to the hundreds place. 36,700. Okay, the tenths place. The tenths place, as you may recall, is right over here. Does that 3 become a 4 or does it stay a 3? You are right. It stays a 3. Why? Because it has a 2 right here beside it. So the answer would be 5396.3. Done. Okay? Let's move down here. Round each of the following numbers to the indicated bolded money value. Okay, money. Well, this is actually useful because we all need to know about money. So, $100. Well, that's in the hundreds spot, which is right here. Does that 7 become an 8 or does it stay a 7? You're right. The answer would be, and if we were putting it with a money sign, it would be $800. Okay. Yeah, the 34 could be, there could be 2 zeros put on the end, but it's not really necessary. I've said that enough probably by now. Okay, the cents. Whoa. Where are the cents? Well, the cents are the same thing as, if you look up here, as the hundredth spot. Whoops, I just messed it up. I tried to circle hundredths. So the cents spot are right here in the hundredth spot. That's our pennies, which we no longer have in Canada anymore. We no longer have pennies. They got rid of them. Okay, so that 8, is it going to become a 9 or stay an 8? You're right. Because of there's only a 2 here, this is going to stay an 8. So I'm not going to write it out. It would be 456,735.98. Done. Okay? Next one, $10. Well, that's the 10 spot, which is, here's the 1 spot, here's the 10 spot. Does that 3 become a 4? No, it does not. So the answer would be 65830. Okay, I'll say it one more time. 65830 would be the answer. You can put a dollar sign in front if you like. Next one, round it to the nearest dollar. Well, the nearest dollar is the same thing as the 1 spot. So we have the 7 there. Does that 7 stay a 7 or does it become an 8? There's a 3 beside it. The answer would be 4657. $4,657 if you want to say it that way. Here we are again with the cents. This time you should know where the cents are. Here, beat me to it. Here's my pen. It's going to it right now. You beat me there. Good job. Now this question, again, is kind of like this question that we did up here. So this question here, the 9 would become a 10 because there's a 7 beside it. And because the 9 becomes a 10, it actually bumps up the 1 on the left. And that will become a 9. And this will become a 0. So the answer would be $32,583.90 or 90 cents. Okay? Again, cents again. And this time they did this on purpose. Because this 9 becomes a 10 thanks to that 7. That bumps this guy up, but this guy has nowhere to go. He becomes a 10 as well. So that means it's like dominoes. This one actually gets bumped up. So this 4 way over here becomes a 5, and everything else to the right just becomes zeros. So it really rounds up to $35. And let's simplify that. If I said I had 34.997 cents, you would say, listen, that's basically $35. You would know that even if you hadn't watched this lesson, right? I'm guessing you would. Okay, $1,000. The thousand spot is right here. This 9 will become a 10 because it has an 8 beside it. So that will bump this 4 to become a, yes, you are right. It becomes a 5. Everything else becomes zeros. It's basically 50000 or $50,000. Nice. Who wouldn't want $50,000 right now? That would be nice. Whether we need to go through all these, I don't know. I'll just quickly look at them though. Round to the accuracy indicated. Round it to the 10 spot. Okay. So that would be 260. I'm going to go through these really quickly. You can shut this video off if you get it, or else just keep watching and I'll just do them really quick. 10 spot. That's right there. That 6 becomes a 7. Okay, the 100 spot. Just watch, I'll make a mistake here and I'll get 100 people telling me online that I made a mistake. It's horrible. You can never live your mistakes down when you do it on YouTube. Okay, next one, 100 spot. Again, that's the 3. That becomes a 4. 1400. 1000 spot. That 9 stays a 9. So 19000. If you want to push pause and just do them and then see if you get them right, go for it. 1000 spot. That 9 becomes a 10. And that's going to bump up the 1 in front of it. Okay? Unlike the last question. So that 1 is going to become a 2 and with all zeros behind it. We're almost done here. Round to the number of decimals places shown in brackets. 1 decimal place. That's the 10th place. That's the 3 right here. It's going to be 1.4. 1 decimal place again. 1.3. Go ahead and push pause and work ahead of me if you like. This one's going to be 1.4. Did you understand that one? Push pause if you don't. 2 decimal places. That's right here. Or else the 100th spot. 0.24 because there's a 6 beside it. You probably are such an expert at this by now. You don't need this video to keep going. 0.23. Isn't this fun? 1 decimal place. 1.2. 1 decimal place. 7.3. You're getting bored. 2 decimal places. 2.39. The 9 stays a 9 because it has a 3 beside it. 2.39. Wow, you've seen enough. That is the end, and I hope that this helped you round numbers, just like this face here is round. Ha ha ha. Terrible joke. My kids would say that's a dad joke. Oh, and I've run out of room here. Hope you enjoyed the rounding lesson. Have a good day, folks. Take care.